I think we all have a hard time navigating change because we struggle to embrace and accept it. Our natural reaction, first of all, is to try and avoid it, dodge it at all costs. We don't want to face change. We're holding on to things staying the same. We want it to be just like it is right now. Or the other thing is, we can see it's happening. We can see that we're having to go through it and we're resisting it. We're not ready to go with the flow. We're not ready to make the change or make the move. We want to resist it at all costs. So often our instinctual reaction to change is actually blocking us from growing.
Change is so hard because it disturbs our regular routines and makes us question what's going to come next.
We never know what's coming and we can't see into the future.
Yeah, we have a hard time with change because it requires us to release control.
A story that I love is a story that was often told by the Buddha. And in this story, there's a person just like you and me who's on a journey, and they come across their first obstacle. The first obstacle is a fast-flowing river. The person realizes that if they were to try and get across this river, they might struggle. They might get swept away with just how fast the current is. So the person decides to use the bamboo nearby and some rope to craft together a raft. And they get out on top of the water and they paddle as hard as they possibly can, as fast as they possibly can, and they make it to the other side. The person feels really accomplished. The person thinks to themselves, without that raft, I would never have made it across that river. I'm going to carry that raft with me for the rest of my life. The person straps the raft to their back and continues to walk. Now, just like in our journey, they come across another challenge. Except this time, the challenge isn't a fast-flowing river, it's a tall, wooded forest with trees dotted at every other step. The person now is trying to walk through this forest, but the raft just keeps getting stuck on the trees and they're trying to switch through and maneuver and navigate, but every time the raft keeps getting stuck in the trees. The Buddha says that the person comes to a really important reflection. They have two choices. They either hold on tight to this raft and struggle to get through, or they put down the raft, walk through freely, knowing that they can build the raft back whenever they need to. The Buddha says that this is the reflection that we all go through in life. If we try to resist change, we try to hold on to the way things have always been, we're like the person carrying the raft, getting stuck in the trees. But if we're able to find that courage, find that confidence, to put down what got us here, knowing that it won't get us there, we may be able to walk through freely. What are the rafts you're holding on to that no longer serve you? To get through the forest ahead, what does modern science have to say about navigating change? Katie Milkman is an award-winning behavioral scientist. She received her PhD from Harvard University's Joint Program in Computer Science and Business. She's a professor at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and author of the best-selling book, How to Change: The Science of Getting from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. Katie, it's so good to have you here. When I was looking at your background, your work today is obviously behavioral science. That's a big, big passion of mine. And I want to start off just to help our audience today. What is behavioral science and what does a behavioral scientist actually do?
Yeah, a behavioral scientist basically tries to understand how is it that people make judgments and decisions, and also how can we help people make better judgments and decisions. And we do it by crunching lots and lots of data. We run experiments, we run surveys, we work with companies, we work with schools, and we try to figure out what is going on under the hood.
My background is so much based on studying philosophy and studying these ancient concepts, and I'm always trying to find modern science that corroborates some of these ideas or thoughts. And I think when we talk about the subject of change, even the idea of change can sometimes make us feel so uncomfortable internally. And it often feels like we're wired against change. as if we just want to resist it, avoid it, push it away. Why are we built that way?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a question I've thought a lot about. Like, why is it that even if everything is structurally right, internally, we are not well designed to facilitate change? And I think there's a few things going on. One that's really important to keep in mind is that we are efficient machines, right? The habits we form mean that we don't have to get up every morning and think carefully about where to find toothpaste, how to clean our teeth. If we had to be deliberative about all those choices, you'd never actually get anywhere, right? So it actually blocks change, because if we want to take the path of least resistance, shortcuts do not lead to change. Similarly, we are wired to be what's called present biased. Present bias is a focus on what I can get right here, right now, and overweighting that relative to long-term rewards. If you offer me cash today versus a little more next week, I almost always say yes to the cash today. I don't want to have to wait for that delayed reward. This is one of the best known biases, actually, in the whole sort of behavioral science canon, and it's one of the most robust. Present bias, though, is not well suited to change. If you want me to make a change, it's going to require some effort up front to get to some good outcome in the long run. But that's not aligned with the way our operating system works. So the flip side of being impulsive is that we procrastinate. We put things off. Why do today what I could do tomorrow instead? And so that can be a major barrier to change, because eventually you have to change today. And I think a major mistake a lot of people make is they just barrel into change and say, I've got a goal, I'm going to achieve it. And they don't think carefully when they make their plans about, well, what might stand in your way? And it's not that you don't want to have some confidence in order to go after a goal, but you also do really need to think about all the things that could go wrong, not just all the things that can go right. In fact, the planning fallacy, which is one of the nastiest biases that can get in our way, is all about focusing on, here's the 7 things that are going to happen, and then everything will be perfect, and my company will be set up and wildly successful. And we under forecast how long things will take, how complex they will be. We don't recognize all the pitfalls. And that is a huge challenge, because the only way we're going to succeed is by understanding what can go wrong and planning for it.